How's it going, everybody? This is T. Swales, and I'm coming to you tonight from Portland, Maine. And in the last 12 days, a remarkable weather event has taken place back in the state of Iowa that has really caught my attention and brought a lot of angst to my heart. So many friends, people, and acquaintances back there, whether I know you or not, that are tied to my site, have been impacted by this tremendous derecho which blew through that part of the Midwest. And it's just caused some incredible damage, and in history will go down as one of the most significant storms in the state of Iowa. When you look at some of the statistics, and I'm talking 30-40% of the state's corn crop completely annihilated, a massive number. In Cedar Rapids and Marion, trees, 50% of the canopy of the trees has been destroyed. It's just astounding, the impacts of this storm. And there are still people 12 days after the storm that don't have power. And back in my old neighborhood in Marion where I lived, so many homes have been destroyed or damaged, and trees have just been wiped out. The neighborhoods don't even, it's just entirely a war zone. And it's pretty sad and pretty disheartening. Because of the significance of what's happened here, I really feel that this is a storm that needs to be documented, and I've done several books in the past, but I am now looking forward to doing one on this particular event. And so I've already started writing the book, but I do not have any sort of backing whatsoever. I'm hoping to find that, and so that's something that I'm looking to do. But in the short term here, I guess one of the things that would really help, and is something I'm going to ask all of you that have followed me for all these many years, is that if you have any pictures or stories regarding the storm, I would certainly look forward to you sending those to me. And if you're willing, of course, we would incorporate those into the book. And I'm going to ask you to send those to Carolyn S. Whetstone at yahoo.com. Carolyn S. Whetstone at yahoo.com. And so we're going to try and accumulate as many of these stories that we can. So
Hey,
that we
dude,
can
maybe you
incorporate
should
those.
spell Whetstone.
Well, why
Because-
don't you do that since it's you?
Well,
Okay?
because not everybody knows. Because I have a
Yeah,
weird,
go ahead,
I have a
do it.
weird spelling. So it's Carolyn, common spelling. S is in Sam, Whetstone, Wettston at yahoo.com.
When you say
And
common spelling, it's
C-A-R-E.
Carolyn.
Nimbus.
Whetstone.
Nimbus. Can you say hi? Okay, sorry.
So, anyway, we'd definitely be thrilled to have that. It's going to make a great addition to the book, and it's something that we really feel needs to be documented. This is such an amazing event. It went all the way from Des Moines and Ames across the entire state of Iowa to the Quad Cities. And there's about a 100-mile swath in there where winds of 100 to 140 mile per hour were found. And in some places like Cedar Rapids, there were wind gusts of 100 miles per hour for almost an hour straight. That's a Category 4 hurricane. It's just an absolutely unprecedented thing that I've never seen even remotely happen here in the state of Iowa. Remarkable. It's an inland hurricane. And then if you equate it to a tornado, a violent tornado is EF3. And it also would qualify for that. But usually with that type of storm, it's a few blocks and it goes a few miles. This went on and on and on. So many people were impacted. And that's the really great tragedy of this particular story. So for all of you back home, and it troubles me greatly that I'm not there to be a part of this, I can't begin to tell you the empathy that I have for you for this. So what we want to do by doing this book is create a fund where we can actually generate some revenue for those that were impacted by the storm. And probably the American Red Cross would be the source that I would donate the money to, but it's going to go to a good cause. So we want to create the book, document the storm. It's something that's always going to be a part of our state's history. And then the proceeds, at least some of it anyway, are going to go towards that cause. I would also say that at this point in time, since I'm not affiliated with any television station, it would be fantastic to get some sort of financial support. So if there is anybody out there that would be willing to be involved in that cause and support the book, we could certainly use that to get it off the ground and get it going. But I can assure you, it will be a really solid book. I've done enough to know how it's accomplished, and we would have the process of what entirely happened with this storm. What is a derecho? How did we not know this was coming? And what is the significance of that? And what are the meteorological parameters that generated it? And so we can look at that, and that'll be a big part of the book. But we also have pictures, lots and lots of pictures, which you can help with, that would support that. And then secondly, it's like, there's the element, I guess that's Nimbus there. He's pleading for help here. We want you to know the comparison of other derechos that have happened in the state of Iowa. Believe it or not, back in the late 1877, I think 1878, there was a guy in Iowa who actually coined the term.
That's crazy.
A storm that blew across the state of Iowa. This guy said, it's a Spanish term for straight line, and that's what he termed a derecho. It was another way to qualify a tornadic type event that really wasn't tornadic winds, because it's just straight line. You don't have that scattering of the winds that you would see with the tornado. It all blows in one general direction. So, bottom line is, that's another element of the storm that we would talk about. The financial damages, the comparison to 2008 in Cedar Rapids in eastern Iowa with the tremendous floods that occurred there. There's the 1993 weather event that occurred too. This is really going to be one of those storms that just breaks a lot of records and just kind of gets out of the box, to say the least. And so those are just a few of the chapters. I mean, Carolyn, you know there's going to be a lot of other ones. We're going to talk about the heroes in this storm and the personal elements. Do you have anything to say about that? Because that's
No,
something you
absolutely.
documented.
I mean, the stories, the human interest stories are going to be incredible. They are incredible. I mean, from a guy who found an airplane, half of an airplane in his house, to people who had a 75-foot tall tree fall on top of their home. I mean, it has just been a horrific event, and it needs to be put down so that generations to come can learn from this and understand this.
Yeah, and it's always going to be a part of our history. And so it'd be a coffee table type book, and it'll have a lot of pictures, but there's going to be a lot of interesting elements and sidebars and things that we're very capable of handling. But when I look at this storm and I see what's happened here, this is something that is just incredibly off the scale and really unique. So to my friends back home, again, know that we both feel your pain and understand the loss that's taken place back there. And this is kind of our way of being a part of the event and maybe being able to give back. So again, if you can help us in any way, shape, or form with pictures or stories or any sort of way to get this financially off the ground, that would be huge. And it's Carolyn S. Whetstone, WETTSTONE, at yahoo.com. So anything you do, we certainly would appreciate. Is there anything you'd like to say at the end there?
I would just like to say that my heart goes out to you folks that are still struggling with this. I can't imagine being there. I can't imagine having to go through this. It's just devastating. And I feel like when I'm here sitting in Maine and I watch the news and I look at the national news, I feel like you've been forgotten.
There's no doubt.
I feel like you've been forgotten, and I don't want that to happen because you guys are you guys are going through something that no one ever else has, and we love you.
Well, we do. And there's so many of you that are. This is going to be a tremendous challenge to recover from a financial aspect. I know this is going to be a huge burden for many farmers, and I'm hoping that your insurance in some ways helps cover the costs of this. But fortunately, the loss of life was limited, but at least 3 people in Iowa died from the storm, and that's just not acceptable either. That's just a tragedy. So I just want you all to know that we certainly feel the pain in our hearts, and hope that you can maybe help us get this project off the ground and make a small difference in the lives of people back there in Iowa. We appreciate it very much,
God bless.
and God bless.